Hello, squids. Okay. Natalie here, Inkiest on YouTube, and today I will be doing a thing. I wanted to start a watercolor series. I do not post enough, so I think a series will kind of be a thing that will egg me on to post more. I'm very sorry about that. I just am very bashful about my videos. I don't know if they're good enough. I just want the best quality for you guys. So, what I mean by watercolor series, I'm just going to do a video, videos on how to do watercolors. And many people ask me very often, what do you use? Or, oh my gosh, how do you use watercolors like that? So what I'm basically going to be doing is splitting it up into 3 parts, and this one is going to be the supplies that you need. I'm had to dedicate an entire video for this because I don't want to make them too long, and also, you know, I want to make them separate parts so I can get as detailed as I want in every single one of them. And, you know, quality content for you guys. Yeah. I'm going to tell you the things that I use, the things you can use, the things that I would recommend. Also, how to use, well, not how to use them. This is just supplies. We're just focusing on what you need. Also, how to line things and all that stuff. All the things that I do, I guess. But I usually use watercolor, so yeah, basically. We're going to start out with paper. Alright, so this is the Canson Mixed Media Sketchbook. This paper is pretty heavyweight, but it's not too thick, not too thin, so it makes it portable. Unlike watercolor, sure, it's like thick paper, but it's less portable than any other paper. It's kind of hard to bring around with you, so I recommend mixed media paper. And yeah, like I said, this is Canson Mixed Media Series Extra Large, XL. I think this is 9 by 12 or 10, so yeah. I recommend this, for sure. Paintbrushes. Oh. Also with paper, the one rule that I have is if it's thicker than copy paper, try it out. Don't use sketchbook paper, like just sketch paper where you just can only use pencil on it. Use a heavyweight, thick paper. If they make a wavy noise like that, then I think it's a very good paper to use. That's it for paper, I guess. And here when it comes to paintbrushes, these are the only paintbrushes I use. Not like I only use 2 paintbrushes, but these are the only brands, including the Winsor & Newton one, but that one was actually stolen. Yeah, I left it in art class. I came back a few minutes later, it was gone. Oh my god, those art kids are vicious, okay? So yeah, this is just a cheap, regular paintbrush. When it comes to paintbrushes, I definitely recommend getting something flexible, soft, that can pull up a lot of water. Never get the ones that are kind of mushy, like you press down on it, it loses its shape completely. Flexibility is very important when it comes to watercolor brushes. We also have a Pentel Aquash. This was one that I use very often, and I recommend it completely. If you watch any other art YouTuber ever, like in the history of ever, they have one of these. These things are on high demand, but they are also not super expensive, and they have very many varieties of these. Different sizes, different colors, different brands. There's ones that are like 50 cents because they're pretty simple. The concept is just kind of new, so it's hard to figure out, but inside of my tutorial on how, like, you know, part 2 of the watercolor series, I will teach you how to handle your art supplies, I guess. Yeah. So that's it for paintbrushes. So we are bringing into the good things. Alright, so there are different types of watercolor. We have watercolor crayons. Well, first off, we have watercolors in tubes. We have watercolors in cans. Hold on. We also have watercolor pencils. So, here are some watercolor pencils. My watercolor crayons are somewhere around here, but they're basically solid sticks of watercolor, and they're pretty useful. So, there's different ways to use all of these things. But the one that I use the most are the pans, because squeezing directly out the tube is kind of difficult, especially for beginners such as myself. Maybe if I get the hang of it more, I will do that, but what I do now is just squeeze the paint into these, inside the wells, and let them dry. Alright. Inside of my, this is the supply video. Since it is, I will mention these guys. I used Altoid tins as little, pallets, and I use bottle caps as well, because they're very portable and easy to take around with you. And when you're in school, that's very important if you want to paint on the go, if you want to paint at lunchtime, during first period, during homeroom, all that cool stuff. Well, especially in art class. So then you won't have to use, So tubes, pencils, these. But there's also crayons, there's markers, there's, liquid kinds, there's ink watercolors, there's all types of forms of watercolors because it's a very versatile kind of medium. When it comes to quality, let's talk about quality. So when it comes to quality is important when it comes to watercolors. It's not like when it comes to other mediums, like watercolors. It's not super important, but it is very important. The smoothness, depending on whether it cracks or not. Inside of this tin, my brown actually cracked for some reason. I don't know what happened. Honestly, I might have to look that up. But it's quality is quite important. I use the Winsor & Newton Cotman series, and I use Staedtler watercolor pencils as, my main watercolor mediums. But it's important simply because it has more pigment. And when it comes to watercolor watercolor pencils, crayons, and tubed or pans, the more pigment, the easier it is to spread. And the darker it will dry, and it will be staying true to color. Because when it dries, it usually does lighten. But if you use a chalkier kind of watercolor, kind of like Crayola, or maybe Crazy Art, or Rose Art, any of those kind of cheapy dollar store brand watercolors, it won't be as good as quality art. Actually, well, yeah, it will be slightly less good quality, it won't last very long, but it can be beautiful no matter what supplies you use. You can use crappy colored pencils you found off of the ground and still make gorgeous art. So never let your your supply quality get in the way of how good you are, because talent is talent and skill is skill. So no matter what, you can be good at art. But yeah, I do recommend the Winsor & Newton Cotman. These are the only student grade paints that I've ever used. So yeah, this one is actually a lot heavier because once you apply water into the things, it becomes heavier. But since this one is brand new and it hasn't been exposed to much, it's not nearly as heavy. So yeah, I guess that's about it for supplies. Just kidding. It's all about the water. This is dirty water I just found on my desk. You can use any vessel you want, and you will have pretty good water. Yeah. That's about it for all the supplies or whatever. I hope you enjoyed. This video was brought to you by the kindness of my heart and my friends who want to know how to do watercolors. This is part 1 of my watercolor series. If you got information out of this, so I guess that is it for this video. Thanks for watching. From Inkiest Vinks on YouTube. Have an awesome day. Bye.